We come now to Genesis chapter 48, and in verses 1 and 2 we read these words. It's now sometime after these things happened. That's obviously the previous stories we've heard about Joseph, and they're all settling down into Goshen in Egypt. Joseph was told, "Your father is sick." So he took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him to go to Goshen. And when Jacob saw or was told, "Look, now your son Joseph has come to you," Israel, again that's Jacob, strengthened himself and sat up in his bed. And then we follow on to the same chapter 48, verse 8. And Joseph said to his father, "These are my sons, whom God has given me here in Egypt." So he said, "Please bring them to me." Again, that's Jacob saying, "so that I may bless them." Now, Israel's eyes were so dim from age that he could not see clearly. Then Joseph brought them close to him, and he kissed and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see your face, but see, God has shown me your children as well." Then Joseph took the boys from his father's embrace, and he bowed before him with his face to the ground. Then Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand towards Israel's left, and Manasseh with his left hand towards Israel's right, and brought them close to him. But Israel, again that's Jacob, reached out his right hand and laid it upon the head of Ephraim, who was not the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands intentionally, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then Jacob blessed Joseph and said, "The God with whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked in faithful obedience, the God who has been my shepherd, leading and caring for me all my life to this day, the angel that is the Lord himself, who has redeemed me continually from all evil, bless the boys, and may my name live on in them. May they be worthy of having the names linked with mine and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow into great multitude in the midst of the earth." When Joseph saw that his father had laid his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him, because he was not the firstborn. And he grasped his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Place your right hand on Manasseh's head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. Manasseh will also become a people, and he will be great, but his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations." Then Jacob blessed that day. What a strange story. And if you've been following the narrative as we've been going through the book of Genesis, you'll say, well, I'm not surprised, because Jacob, as we know, was the second, and how much he knew about not so much his father. Yeah, Isaac, yes, his father Isaac, he was the second because Ishmael was born before him, etc. I don't know, but I think he grasped it. And I think also in his communion with God, he did as he believed was right before him. That was to bless the younger and give the blessing on the younger one. There was a blessing for the older one, but the main blessing was on the younger. And he crossed his hands. And Joseph, he wasn't too happy. He hadn't quite got the plot yet, I would imagine. And why did he do that? Well, because the second, going against all tradition, is going to be blessed more. And so this was the prophecy that Jacob, and what actually happened as a result of it. And it says that that this prophecy begins to be fulfilled during the time of the judges. So if you read on the history of Israel, as the tribe of Ephraim increased in preeminence and became the head of the northern 10 tribes, Joshua, whom Israel regarded as their ruler, was from the tribe of Ephraim, and Ephraimite, as they called him. The Ark of the Covenant was placed in Shiloh. Now we shall hear about Shiloh in another couple of videos, in the territory of Ephraim, which also increased the tribe's prestige by its fulfillment. So Jacob's prophecy proved to be divinely inspired, both in the physical sense, but what's he telling us in the spiritual sense? You must you must have a second birth. And it's so clear in the scriptures, isn't it? And here we get, it's the only time actually Joseph seems to be out of character, in the sense that he was very annoyed at his father, thinking he was getting it wrong. But as always, when people are acting in the name of God and through the Spirit of God that was in Jacob, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew by what happened to him, and he'd seen it. And so the second got the first blessing. Oh, to be born again of the Spirit of God, and then get all the blessings from above.